Well, good afternoon everybody. I'd like to say good morning as I normally do, but unfortunately, let me just get hold of this. Unfortunately, I had to wait. Let me get my focus sorted. There we go. I had to wait this morning for a parcel, and that blooming parcel was really late, and I wanted to get it nice and early this morning. Overnight, we've had quite a significant amount of frost. And as we all know, as you get into the afternoon, certainly here in the UK, that frost often just melts away. So I've come to the east side of a fairly large landmass here in Lancashire with a view to hoping that there's a lot more shade on this side and I can find some nice objects to photograph. So I just need to just chill down a little bit and get my seeing eyes in and my thinking head on, and I can hopefully find something for you very soon. So I've decided I'm going to just have 10 minutes right here. Hopefully that thing will just track me around. If you just look here, just behind me, it's quite a nice open area, and the frost is quite thick on the ground here, and it makes complete sense to spend a bit of time here as opposed to just walking looking for much the same type of thing somewhere else. Now, behind me into the woodland, typically the woodland canopy does provide some warmth to the ground flora, and I can already see that there isn't anywhere near the amount of frost available within the woodland as there is right here. So I'm going to be looking for open patches just like this this afternoon, but now's a good place to start, and I'm sure we can find something right here. So what I want to do first of all is I'm going to check potential scenes out with my phone. I see a little point in getting the camera out until I find something worthy of the lens, and most phones these days, certainly this one, it's only an iPhone 11, has got a two times magnification option on it, and I would rather use that first of all to find subjects, and once I've found something that I quite like, I will then go about getting the gear out and going to all the trouble of setting it up properly. But for now, this is the perfect way to find those shots. So 5 minutes or so, and hopefully I will have found something. There's certainly plenty to go at. The leaves have still got some nice hoar-frosted edges to them. The more the better, but we'll see what we can do. Oh, it's nippy, that's for sure. Right, so I found myself my first shot. I'll just put the camera down there. Annoyingly, the sun was just starting to get on it, so I've put my camera bag just to shield it whilst I talk to you. But what we've got here is we've got a plant called burdock, and as the name suggests, it's got these burrs on the tip of it, and even now the little hooks are still present, and they get stuck to your clothes, they get stuck on dog's fur. They're quite a nuisance really, but they create a lovely opportunity when you find them like this. And just down here I've got a little cluster of 3, and they're completely welded fast within some frozen leaves, and they make for a beautiful composition. So that's my first shot. I will show you the composition now before I get the camera out. Right, so just down here, there's my little cluster of 3 burdock seed heads, and as you can see, like I said, they're completely welded, sealed in, locked in with the surrounding oak leaves. I think they're going to make for a really nice shot. I can't really arrange this this gimbal. It does its own thing, but I would really like to show you how I'm going to compose it, so it's probably best to show you on the back of the camera. Right, so there is one of the shots from the sequence, and it's a focus stack. I'm not sure whether you can see that as I just move through the sequence, focusing at different points throughout the scene. So here is the top of one of the burdock seed heads. So I've focused at the highest point, including the highest point of that little leaf tip there. I've just knocked the frost off, and I've just moved the camera, focusing at various points down into the very depths of the bottom of that hole down there, and I've taken about 8 shots altogether, whilst all at the same time keeping the light off the scene. Now with the shot, you can see there, I have made sure that the cluster of 3 burdock heads, seed heads, are at the bottom portion of the frame of the third, if you're into rules, just to give them a bit of breathing space into the upper part of the scene. So this is going to be a vertical shot, I think. Having said that, you never know, when you get them back on the computer, sometimes when you flip them round in a landscape format, they can look nicer. So I'm leaving my options open at this stage. So I'll put that shot on now. Really quite pleased with that. It's not a plant I've ever photographed, certainly on this channel before, so it was nice to get something just that little bit different. Right, so I'm going to head off in that direction now and try and find another little clearing, and hopefully something else a little bit different to photograph. But over the Christmas period we went to Suffolk, and we do spend quite a bit of time down there visiting family, and the conditions aligned on one particular morning to shoot the beach huts at the coast at Southwold. Now, I have posted that image online, but I just want to cast you back to that little period between Christmas and New Year on that morning when I got that shot, because I think it's worthwhile seeing. But yeah, I shall see you back in the wood in about 5 minutes. Well, good morning everybody, welcome back to another film. I actually wasn't going to film this morning. I'm up in Suffolk, on the Suffolk coast, for Christmas, and typically I was going to rest and have a bit of photography time for myself, but you know, sometimes you just need to film, and today just seemed like a good day to film. So I'm currently waiting for the sun to come up. I've got Willow with me, she's digging a hole over there looking for a ball. As you can see, the way I'm dressed, it's freezing out here. The wind fortunately is coming from behind me, so my face is relatively warm, and I've not got the problem of sand blowing in my face. So the shot I'm going to photograph this morning, I'll just spin you around, are these lovely beach huts just here. I'll show you my composition. There's my composition. So I've got this nice dark line creating a nice diagonal triangle on the bottom left foreground. Beautiful marram grasses in the midground there, and a bit of a leading sandbank on the right, coming into these lovely cluster of beach houses just here, beach huts should I say, just here. Pink one being on the right, which is just perfect. Now I have got a 0.6 neutral density graduated filter there, just holding back, well I say holding back, darkening the sky, because we've got, as you can see, we've got a band of cloud just there, and I want to make that more brooding. Now the idea is this morning is I want to shoot this, and when the sun comes up, not as a sort of pre-sunrise image. I want the golden light to be on the marram grasses and also on the beach huts. In terms of settings, just quickly, f16, 100 ISO, 1 second exposure at the minute, but that's going to change obviously as the light increases. So this is my hope. You can just see off to the right, the sun's probably coming up round about there, and I'm hoping it will just get above the horizon. It should do, the forecast is such that it will, but what I really need is for these clouds to stay in situ for that period of time, and that's what I'm not so sure about. Here's little Willow, waiting patiently for me to throw her favourite thing in life, which is her ball. Go get it. And she's got a little jacket on just to keep her warm, because there is a bit of standing around to do, and last time I had her out, if you remember, she got quite cold, so we're paying a bit more attention to her needs this morning, a little bit less of mine. Here, one more. Right, so I'm going to stand and wait for this beautiful sunrise, which I'm praying for, and I'll see you in just a few minutes when it hopefully it all kicks off. So the sun is just about starting to breach the cloud bank. It's been about 10 minutes since sunrise, and I was beginning to think that typically the cloud often grows as the sun gets higher in the sky, but I'll just spin you around. So there you can see the sun is just starting to breach that cloud bank now. In terms of my hooks, they're still in shade. The pink one's just getting a hint of a glow just at the top part of it there, but it really is just a waiting game now. I think I'm going to get it. I really do think I'm going to get the shot that I'm after. I just need the light on those marrow grasses, because that would be really, really lovely. The wind's blowing them and they will just just almost like on fire and dancing. That's what I'm preempting. Now, as I'm looking at the cloud, it is growing with the sun. Any of you out there that are landscape photographers and not just tuning into the channel because of the intimate landscapes that I do, you'll know just how frustrating this can be. Just when you think you're going to get what you came for, it all goes horribly wrong. Right, we're in business. I just look at the beach huts there. You just see the pink one on the end there. You've just got a little bit of sunshine just catching the top part of the side of the building there, and the marram grasses are now starting to take on that lovely golden colour in the tips of their leaves. Right, so it's time to start shooting. I've adjusted the exposure. We're now down to a third of a second, f16 at 100 ISO. That bank of cloud, I'll just show you. That bank of cloud remains at the top. It's a little bit thicker than I would like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a sequence of images and just keep shooting throughout the whole of this session. And generally the idea is you pick the best one, because as it's all happening, you don't necessarily see the best one as an individual shot. You tend to, when you get back on the computer, as you're whizzing through them quickly, it becomes apparent where the peak of the colours and the interest is. Yeah, that sun is well and truly up now. So what I've done is I've also adjusted my white balance. When I started this morning, I had it on shade actually. So I'm shooting now on cloudy, which has removed a lot of the warmth. I'll just actually show you that. So the white balance I was on earlier on was that, so it was very yellow, and I quite like the colour of that. But if I move it to shade, which I'm not really sure what the difference is, obviously there's a Kelvin difference, but to move it to shade, it was a lot more blue and not quite as nice. But it's not always easy to tell until you get it on the computer. Yeah, daylight, again, it's got almost a magenta look to it, which I'm not keen on, and then auto white balance is very, very similar. So I think I'm going to shoot on cloudy for this session, because that is what I think looks nicest on the back of the camera. That being said, I'm shooting in RAW, so as we all know, I can adjust that white balance at my leisure when I get back and I pick the shot. So as I say, I'll sequence them all through in Lightroom and I'll pick the best one and I'll put that on now. I certainly hope you enjoyed that little trip to Suffolk. I've come to another open area and I'm sticking my neck out a little bit here because I haven't found anything, but I'm pretty sure I can find something. This particular area where I'm stood is what's technically classed as dry swamp, and it's dominated by a plant called reed canary grass. Just at the back on the embankment, during the summer months, that would have been filled with Himalayan balsam, which is an invasive. And I've mentioned that on the channel before. Whenever I find it, I pull it up as much as I can. But this little area here is free from it, and what's grabbed my attention is because the grasses are all flattened, so you get a unique opportunity to see them when they're down on the ground instead of the usual position up in the air. But they've got these lovely big wide leaf blades on them, and they've got hoarfrost on them. Now, as I've come into this area, I've actually also noticed that there's quite a lot of fern fronds as well with hoarfrost on. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes, as I did before, with my phone out, and hopefully I can find a shot right here. So I've actually only walked about 200 yards from the last location, just found another little opening, and that's all I've had to do really. Quite an easy search. I just got to come up with something now that I'm here. So after much searching and deliberation, I've concluded that I can't make anything of the grasses. There's just too much tangle going on in amongst them with other things that are just interrupting every composition I can find. But what I have come up with down here is a beautiful male fern here with a lovely kink at the top, which I'm going to take advantage of. But just look at the frosting on that. That's really quite nice. And you've got more frost at the top, less at the bottom, so you've got a nice tonal range as well. That is definitely a contender for the lens. So quite a straightforward shot, but what I did want to mention is that for this instance I've got my nodal rail positioned on top of the tripod, simply because it's such a delicate operation getting to the right viewing distance down here. I wanted the manoeuvrability to be able to move the camera in and out once I got it roughly in the right position. What I don't want to be doing is moving the tripod legs around and just knocking all that little delicate branches of hoarfrost off. So I'll just show you on the back of the camera now what I've got. So this is my final frame as I've got it lined up. You see that lovely sweep going over to the top left, and the fern exiting at the bottom there just on that right hand third, but it's got a lovely dynamic line running through it, and then all these beautiful hoarfrosted leaflets coming off from the main rib. Now in terms of composition, if I just move through the various pictures that I've taken as part of this sequence, it's a focus stack of about 7. You can see that there's just a slight bit of focus breathing. If I go from that one to that one, if you watch the edges back again, you'll see that because I've focused in different parts of the image, you get this effect of the lens breathing, is what they call it. Now, I'm sorry about that, someone's car alarm's just gone off in the car park, but I'll continue. So what I will have to do is, once I've aligned all these images together, I will have to crop off the edges. Now the problem with that is that I stand to lose some of the composition. So as a backup, I've got if I just move up here, I've got another collection of images where I've pulled the camera out ever so slightly, and the idea is that if I get the focus breathing in with this one, if I get the focus breathing in that's just not working on the closer shot, then I can always fall back on this one. The reason I took the close-up one in the first place is because I like to get the image right in camera, and I'm not a fan of cropping, so I try to get it as near as I can, and then hope that the focus breathing isn't quite so much that I lose the effect of the composition that I lined up. And it all harks back to the days when I used to shoot transparencies, when you didn't have the option of cropping quite so easily afterwards, certainly not with transparencies. So if you like the work that I'm doing here today and you're new to the channel, do consider having a look at my new ebook, The Intimate Landscape. It's full of beautiful images just like the ones I'm taking today, alternating high resolution, full screen images and 10,000 words of text, all about how I go about finding and taking the perfect intimate landscape. Check that out on my website, www.simonboothphotography.com, and get your copy today. So I shall put that beautiful image on now. Well, that's it from me for today, folks. You may well have noticed, I'm sure you've noticed, that where I've been working this morning is right by the side of a road, and what there is at the top of this hill is a beautiful little cafe that does toasted tea cakes and nice warm hot cups of coffee, so I'm off there now. I'll put the images on in just a second, but as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. Certainly give it a thumbs up, it always helps the channel. Leave some comments below, let me know what you think of today's images, and I will see you in the next one. So until next time, bye for now.